Welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. The Indiana Fever took on the number one team on Friday night, the Minnesota Lynx. We know that the Minnesota Lynx holds that number one spot for a reason. It's a really good team, even without Nafisa Collier, who's been out with injury. But Indiana didn't come out stargazing at home. Indiana came out popping, came out with energy, came out knocking down shots. Lexie Hull was lexified, if I must use that phrase, that term that I've created, because she certainly was lexified. We got to see the newbie, not newbie to the game, but newbie to the Fever, and Shea Petty knocking down first three shots that happened to be threes. It was exciting to see. But one thing is for sure, nobody who's been around the game thought that the Minnesota Lynx would just lie down and die. Not going to happen. It's a team who's going to stay the course, and they're going to punch. They're going to fight back. That's what great teams do. And we know it's a game of runs, so we expected the run. And it came. Indiana had been up double digits. Indiana fought back at the end, but ultimately Indiana fell a little bit short, lost by 5 points. But shout out to Indiana. They gave me plenty of reason to run around the house. If you watch the live streams with me, you know what happens. I get up and I get to running. I get to running and dancing and all of that. And they gave me plenty of reason to do that. And I will continue to say the adversity this team has been through, and now more adversity. Shout out to the team for refusing to quit. And although there are people out there who are inexplicably to me saying, just forget about it, just let it go. It's inexplicable to me because I'm a competitor and I know this team is competitive. And nobody's going to just say, let go, let it go. No, we're going to do what we have to do to compete. And so I have great respect for that. And again, this team, with all the adversity, lost by 5 to the number one team in the league. And when I said more adversity, well, we didn't have Chloe Bibby, a precaution, they said, because of her knee. And then during the game, Odyssey Sims, another injury. She left the court. She asked for a sub, left, and didn't return. And the last I heard, she was going to be reevaluated before the game on Sunday. But the team kept fighting. So we're going to get into some of the numbers. And then I really want to highlight Lexie Hull. So let's go to ESPN for the box score first. There's the score, 95 Minnesota, 90 Indiana. And you will see right here, Indiana won the first quarter, 27-22. But Minnesota won the second quarter, but only by 3, 28-25. And then we go into halftime. Indiana was up 52-50. And the third quarter, I so wish 99.9999% of the time we didn't have to have a third quarter, because going back to last season, the third quarter is just a struggle for the Fever, has been. And so you see here, Minnesota almost doubled Indiana in points, 32-17 in that third quarter. And then the fourth quarter, Indiana outscored Minnesota 21-13. So Indiana won 2 of the 4 quarters, but it's not enough when you're playing against Minnesota. And so obviously, again, you see that 5-point differential there. Let's look at Indiana's box score. We had Kelsey Mitchell with 27 points, and that included 5 assists. We had Lexie Hull with a career high, not just a season high, career high 23 points. She had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and she had 4 fouls. Lexie Hull picks up quite a bit of fouls. If I'm the coach, I'll take that, because what the energy and how aggressive she is, her tenacity on defense, you cannot pull that back. You've got to let Lexie be lexified. And she was. And again, the stat sheet, the box score will never do justice to what she brings. And last night it was extra because she started out with an attack mentality. So after that, we have Aaliyah Boston. She didn't really get going. She wasn't really getting a lot of touches there at first. She was being more of a facilitator, which she does a really good job of doing. She was 7 of 9 from the field. She had her 15 points along with 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. We need more rebounds from her. And we need more rebounds from Tosh, who had 8 points. She was 3 of 6 from the field, but 8 points and just 4 rebounds and an assist. We needed more of that. And then, of course, Shea Petty, 10 points, 3 of 4, all threes, 4 assists. She also had 3 turnovers, and so did Natasha Howard. But overall, again, the team really fought back, really competed, and I'm proud of the team, even though we didn't get the win. Shooting 54.8% from the field, 65% from 3. This has got to be fixed here. The free throws, 69.2% free throws. Minnesota didn't do well free throws either. And we also turned the ball over, 13 turnovers in this game. And when you look at Minnesota, Minnesota turned the ball over 8 times. Minnesota shot 55.9% from the field, so just a little bit more than we did. But they had 42.9 from 3, so we outdid them there. But they missed more free throws than we did. They shot 58.8%. That's got to be fixed in professional basketball. So once again, Minnesota is going to be a tough team, but Indiana was right there with them, and they got to play them again on Sunday. Now, the thing about Minnesota, you can't give up offensive rebounds, which we did. You have to know where Kayla McBride is, and I didn't even show you their box score, which I should have. So let's go back to that box score really quickly. Kayla McBride with 29 points. And then Jessica Shepard inside with 22 points. And you got 17 off the bench from Natisha Heidemann. It wasn't Courtney Williams' night. I mean, she only played 13 minutes. She didn't seem on at all. She had 2 points, and Natisha Heidemann was doing a better job. But yeah, 29 from Kayla McBride. You absolutely cannot let her get going because she's got a quick release. And also, Minnesota screens well. So they're screening well. And McBride, she doesn't need a whole lot of space. She doesn't need a whole lot of room. So I know sometimes when we're looking at it and we see the shot go in and we're like, could you guard her, please? You got to understand, they're setting solid screens. It doesn't take her long to put a shot up. And then also, you got Shepard on the inside who had a triple-double in the third quarter. So it's kind of like, oh, my goodness. So if we're trying to take care of inside, if you're collapsing on the inside, then they got somebody on the outside. And that's what you want ideally as a team. You want people not to be able to stop you because you have too many weapons. And Minnesota, though, almost came into Cambridge and left with their 3rd loss in a row. But now Indiana is going to Minnesota, where, of course, Indiana has won before, and that was for the Commissioner's Cup. So now let's just go to the post-game press conference and hear some of what Lexie Hull had to say, because like I said, I want to highlight her. I'm going to show a few of her highlights here in a moment, because Lexie, 23, career high, very aggressive. Remember, she was in a slump not that long ago. Never in a slump defensively, by the way. An offensive slump. Let us make that clear. She's always been Lexified on the defensive end.
Yeah, I mean, I think like just tightening up those little things. Steph said in the post game there was like a 26-9 run in a matter of a few minutes, spread out, but it's making those runs smaller and shorter for us. But first half, I mean, they got some kick out threes that we can control. Just getting on the glass, box them out, a little bit more effort, a little bit more focus, a little bit more locked in on our schemes. But we're right there. So I think we can head into Sunday's game with a little bit of confidence, knowing we can compete against anybody.
I like the attitude. When you look at where you went wrong, you realize where you went wrong, and you say, okay, we get it. We see just a little bit more effort. We're right there. We can go in. We can beat this team.
Career high for you tonight. How'd that first half feel, especially with 18 and just 20 minutes of play?
I mean, it obviously feels good, I think, for me, just playing with confidence. we're missing people. So everyone's got to do a little bit extra, be a little bit more aggressive offensively. So that was my mindset going in. And obviously it feels good to see the ball go through the net.
And speaking of seeing the ball go through the net, let's take a look at some Lexi highlights in which she got to see the ball leaving her hand and going through the net quite a bit. We're going to go over to the Indiana Fever's X account.
Kelsey Mitchell matched her career high with those 38 points. The Fever currently holding on to 6th position as they feed inside.
One of Lexie Hull's 2 assists. Let's go.
To Natasha Howard, and she gets us started tonight. Lynx Center tonight, 4.5-point favorites. The over-under set at 164.5. As Lexi Hull
with the long range
dials up a 3.
Than any active player right now in the league.
McBride was an all-star for the 5th time in her
love
career as Boston goes backdoor to Hull, working on Williams. Hull gets it to go.
I love the back door, dribble around, fade away, and one. Come on.
And a foul.
So they've had a lot of disruption in their lineup. Lexi Hull does a really good job of keeping her dribble alive. No.
For Indiana defensively on Sunday, and Stephanie White said that's earned her some more playing time here. In Chloe Bibby's absence, you'll likely see a lot of Turner on the floor here today as Lexi Hull launches and hits. Boston into the corner. Hull launches and it skips out. Dante's offensive rebound. Indiana still has a pulse and Hull flips it in.
That was nice. Little KG right there. Looked like you're going over to the left, go across your body and put that in. Not an easy shot right there. Something that I want to point out about Lexi Hull. You ever notice that if she gets a rebound and she just begins to push the ball up the floor, I can totally trust her with the ball. There's some people I'm like, no, give it up. You're not going to be handling the ball. But Lexi, I totally trust her with the ball because she makes smart decisions. Lexi will push the ball over half court, but she doesn't force it. If it's not there, she's not trying to force it. She knows how to get it across half court and then dribble, keep her dribble, and wait for someone to come get the ball, the point guard to get the ball or pass it to someone when they're there in a way that doesn't hurt the team. She's patient. That's what I want to say. She's patient with the basketball and she's not trying to force something that's not there. That's basketball IQ. And there's patience, and that's a whole different thing sometimes. And I like what I see in terms of how she does that. Looking at those highlights, though, reminded me that I wanted to make sure that I acknowledge Brie Turner. She's been getting more minutes, and she absolutely deserves them. She wasn't brought onto this team to score points. She was brought on the team for defense and for rebounding, and she didn't let the team down. She had 5 rebounds in the game, 4 assists. She played really well. She makes her presence known. So shout out to Brie. She's been patient. She's been a professional. She's not complained. She's cheered everybody on. And that's the bottom line in sports. When your number is called, be ready. And she was ready. And shout out to her. And I'm going to end with this. Kelsey Mitchell's teammates surprised her, honored her with t-shirts that said MVP. And a lot of talk has been going on lately about Kelsey Mitchell and about the fact that her name needs to be in the MVP conversation. You have Nafisa Collier, you have Alyssa Thomas, and now people are talking about Asia Wilson. You cannot leave out Kelsey Mitchell. What she has done this season is noteworthy. Kelsey is number 3 in points per game, number 3 in three-pointers made. Her assists are up. She's doing a whole lot because she has to do it. Now, first of all, she can do a whole lot, but she has to do a whole lot. And I'm not saying she's going to win MVP this season. In fact, it's probably not likely. But this MVP race, there's not going to be a unanimous MVP. There's just not. Kelsey Mitchell, her name should be talked about. And so her team said, you know what? We're going to talk about it. In fact, we're going to wear it. And they had t-shirts with MVP on it. And she was asked about it in the post-game press conference. And let's go to that right now.
Kelsey, were you aware of what your teammates were going to do in terms of the t-shirt?
No. Oh my goodness. I was taken back. I was It was fun. It was funny. I was very humbled. I was grateful for my group. I love the people I play with, and to know that they would go out their way to make something like that happen for me, it means a lot more than people know because I have been here the longest. I have, everything that people talk about, I have been, and to know that my teammates kind of like see me as, I have value somewhere, and I feel like they make me feel like, I'm important to them and vice versa. And so that value means everything to me. And anybody knows me, I'm a loyal type person. And so I'm going to forever look at them like forever friends after something like that. So it was big, but it was funny.
You all probably remember that it was Caitlin Clark who got on X and posted Kels, an MVP, after the huge comeback against Connecticut, during which Kelsey Mitchell went off for 38 points. She is our MVP and should be in the WNBA MVP conversation. So on Sunday, you got Indiana taking on Minnesota again. And once again, it's going to be tough. This is the number one team. But I believe that this team came so close on Friday night, can do it again. They have to put together 4 quarters. You can't have long stretches of lulls. It is a game of runs. So Minnesota is going to go on runs, but you have to shorten. As we heard Lexi say, you have to shorten those runs and you have to do all the things. As I used to tell my players, if you take care of the little things, the big things will take care of themselves. And I guess if we want to call rebounding the basketball a little thing, then whatever. The bottom line is those things matter big picture. Little things perhaps, but huge repercussions. So Sunday, God willing. I'll catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundantly.